held here at the Ministry of Information Conference Room to be in 30th of September. I trust it's going to be a slow time we have together to share knowledge and also get to know what is happening in the media world. Without much ado, may I respectfully invite to serve us a brief opening prayer. Dr. Ndweso, please.
Please, may we be in a mood of prayers. Rise to your feet. Yeah, you're welcome. Our Father in heaven, we thank you this morning. We thank you for our Akwa Ibom State, the state you graciously gave to us. We thank you for our leaders. We thank you for our governor, the governor who you've given to us, showing compassion in all his dealings, making everybody in Akwa Ibom State happy at the same time. Lord, we thank you for the leadership of the Ministry of Information, the entire information sector in Akwa Ibom State, the Commissioner, the CPS, the Permanent Secretary, and of course, all of us here who are stakeholders in the industry. We thank you for this forum that avails us the platform to get acquainted with all that His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State is doing in our state. May this be sustained, and as we deliberate, Father, may we go back more refreshed on all of the developments of the Arise agenda in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you, and so we declare this meeting open in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure, without much ado, to recognize very important dignitaries that are here, and of course we'll send microphones to you, which you will tell us your name and your media houses, please. But first, let me recognize the presence of the Commissioner for Information. Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable Enekan Omana. Can we please clap? We also have the presence of the Chief Press Secretary to the Akwa Ibom State Government, Mr. Ekerete Udo. Good morning, sir. Presence of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information.
Mr. MC, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Ekerete Udo, and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Research and Documentation, other governors, aides, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure these seats will be for the NUJ Chairman, Secretary. We can fill them up. When they come, we can adjust. We can move further and fill them up, so we will adjust as they come. So thank you for coming, and welcome to this morning's briefing for the month of September. So, gentlemen of the press, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you to this edition of a monthly press briefing series. This platform provides an opportunity to regularly interact with the media and the public on activities of the government as driven by His Excellency, our Governor, Pastor Omo Basi Eno, PhD. During the month of September, as you may be aware, the government of Akwa Ibom State engaged in several activities driven by our leader and governor, Pastor Omoino, and engaged in several important assignments towards the growth and development of our dear state. Central to all this is the implementation of the Arise agenda, the developmental imprimatur of the governor of Akwa Ibom State, that situates in 5 pillars, 5 very cogent pillars of development. Thank you. So let's welcome the Honorable Commissioner for Health, our brother, Dr. Kim John Emmanuel. In the month, His Excellency received the team that the government of Akwa Ibom State sponsored through Ibom Air to go in for aviation development, pilots training, and aircraft engineers who came in and paid a courtesy to him at the government house and so on. It's all part of the social capital development of the present administration under the Arise agenda. So many other activities took place, as you know. Of course, the ongoing rehabilitation of Ibom hotels also played a critical part in the activities of the month. His Excellency the Governor led a team of the State Executive Council and members of his administration to inspect the ongoing rehabilitation of that facility during the month. You're also aware that he did visit as part of the efforts to deepen the diaspora engagement and encourage Akwa Ibom citizens who have excelled in their various spheres of endeavors overseas. We remember the young British, the young Akwa Ibomite who performed so well in boxing, and of course the mayor of Islington, whom he visited. And of course the mayor also came to join us in the 38th anniversary celebration of Akwa Ibom State, as you all know. Of a special note was the hosting also of the Directors of Guild of Nigeria and Ibom Entertainers Week, an engagement that underscores the administration's commitment to the development and encouragement of the creative industry. And you may recall that on that occasion, His Excellency supported the capacity development in the creative industry with a seed fund of 100 million, which he announced on that occasion for the purpose of deepening capacity and growing activities within the creative industry. Other major activities include the opening of the legal week that took place, of course, to give impetus to the judicial arm of government to pursue its engagement for the year. You know, it's a practice for the judiciary to get into the new opening of the judiciary week that ushers in the new judicial week. And so many others. You may recall that the government of Akwa Ibom State under His Excellency Pastor Mono launched the Security Trust Fund. The Security Trust Fund, which is a fund designed to help grow the security initiative of the state and support security development and programs. That wasn't all. You also know that, during the month, the fourth batch of the Entrepreneurs Accelerator program at Ibom led, that the EAP 4.0, had commenced with another set of 500 trainees who will now go through the program and will be empowered, as several others who were empowered before now. To give some spiritual impetus to the development of the state, you will recall that His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State hosted the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. After participating at the conference itself at Oborokara local government area, the Apostolic Nuncio in Nigeria, that is the representative of the Pope of the Catholic Mission in Nigeria, came here with the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference. And of course, they paid a courtesy on the governor, and the government also hosted them to a reception which held at the banquet hall of the government house. That was a major development for the state, and played host to all the spiritual leaders in the state who were in attendance at that event. Additionally, we have talked about the hosting and development of diaspora engagement, and of course you will recall that the activities marking the 38th anniversary of Akwa Ibom State had commenced in earnest, and several activities culminating in the swearing in of the new chairman of the State Council of Chiefs, the State Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Majesty Akuku Savior Sylvester Odofia, who was sworn in and pushed to deepen the inclusion and participation in traditional administration at our various local government areas. To energizing the partnership of Akwa Ibom State and the center, and of course in furtherance of the developmental initiative of His Excellency the Governor, you will recall that on the 24th of this month, a total of 17.3 kilometers beginning with the 15.13 and the 1.3 Ika, that is Ika to Azumini Road, and the internal roads at Ikorodom local government, Ikorodom in Ika local government area, were commissioned by the Honorable Minister of the FCT, His Excellency Barrister Ezenwoye Somwike, who was a special guest of honor in the state to give impetus and a federal touch to the rural development initiative of His Excellency in Ika local government area. The governor himself and the Honorable Minister defied the rains in Ika and performed that commissioning that has opened up that link between Akwa Ibom State and Abia State, and has also opened up the entirety of that rural stretch from where they call it Takerewere in Ika. That is that junction along the Etimekwe-Ika Road all the way to Azumini in Abia State. That's a very major development and has brought succor to the people of Akwa Ibom State and other Nigerians who use that road. There are several other things that are going on in the state, and of course, in terms of tourism development and the making of the destination of Akwa Ibom, we are happy to let you know. We are happy to let you know that the tourism development of Akwa Ibom State under His Excellency Governor Moeno during the month of September, even before that and ongoing, continue to receive impetus with the continued development of the Arise Resort. The 70 hectares of gullies of despair that His Excellency Governor Moeno reclaimed and decided to turn into a destination of note for Nigeria, for Akwa Ibom people, for Nigerians, and the world. And that is going on. You know what, I'm sure most of you have visited the facility, and you know that it is a multifaceted tourism location that will be the toast of this nation when it is opened to the public, hopefully in December of this year. We are talking of a facility with a 9-hole golf course, as you know. We have lazy rivers and artificial lakes. We have floating bars in that facility. We have lounges. We have continental and African restaurants. We have cafes. We have, I've mentioned floating bars. We have banqueting facilities. We have indoor and outdoor sporting facilities. We have an upcoming merry-go-round for children. We have the rides in the children's playground. If you have gone there recently, you will see that the rides have already been installed. And of course, the sporting facilities are also being installed as we speak. The indoor sporting area, the spectators arcade, the banqueting facility, like I mentioned before, and of course the well-appointed 20 units of three-bedroom apartment and two-bedroom apartment, 15 two-bedroom, 5 three-bedroom, and that will also complement the upcoming villas, residential villas that will come into the place, and a well-styled hotel that will also be there to support visitors coming to the facility so that so many will not have to leave that facility. So that's what is going on in that place. And I urge you to go in there and see, because it's work in progress. Every day there's development. Every day there's addition. Every day there's improvement, and so on. So as part of this tourism development, you know, His Excellency is not just pursuing that recreational tourism alone. We have you have the medical tourism. Thank God the Honorable Commissioner for Health is here. He will take us through the intendment of His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State in developing medical tourism. We have the agricultural tourism coming up at the model farms. If you get to that farm, it's more than a farm. It's a complete, it's an integrated facility. Integrated facility. As of yesterday, the ponds were already coming alive. All of the farm assets and non-farm assets are coming alive at that place. And as journalists, I ask you to go to that place, or we'll arrange a visit so you see these things for yourself, that that 50-hectare farm holding is coming up and coming on real good for the people of Akwa Ibom State. When we're talking about the Arise agenda, it sits within the presence of those 5 pillars that I mentioned earlier: agricultural revolution, and of course the major signpost in this is the Ibom model farms, which we just talked about. And that is in addition to other things going on in the agricultural sector, from extension of farm seedlings to supporting farmers, to supporting farming cooperatives or registered farmers, and even up to developing the tree crop revolution. I'm sure you're aware of that. That's coming on stream very strong, because that is one area where His Excellency the Governor is determined to make a major imprint in tree crop development, because that is an economy that is waiting to be harnessed and harvested in Akwa Ibom State. You are aware that there is an agricultural development committee that's already in place, and they've made all their presentations. And of course, in the supplementary appropriation that is before the House of Assembly now, adequate provisions have been made to ensure that the tree crop revolution takes off in earnest. In terms of rural development, you know, as I know, that rural development is one key area that His Excellency has focused on very greatly, and is running the bottom-up approach in ensuring that from the remotest part of Akwa Ibom State, development gets there. Yeah, whether you are talking of rural access road, every local government, all 31, can boast of road projects now that have commenced in all 31 local government areas. Some have advanced in several kilometers of road projects. So far, you have even the medical facilities. A lot of them are in the rural areas. I'm sure Dr. Ken will tell you some of the ones that are in very remote areas that are being developed at the moment. Even the model schools, there are so many in rural areas, and so many other facilities are being put in place by the governor of Akwa Ibom State. If we are looking at infrastructural development, where when we touch on roads slightly, as we speak now, we are having up to 772 kilometers of road construction in all 31 local government areas of Akwa Ibom State. And of course, if you break out this way, maybe when we are discussing, we'll put it on the screen so that you can see the kilometerage per senatorial district to show the spread of this road infrastructure. These are newly awarded projects, included inherited projects that the administration is pursuing. As you know, that several have been commissioned, a lot others are at the various stages of commissioning. And you are aware, like we mentioned, the one at Ikatu Azumini is just one of those dividends of the 772 that have been, that's already been commissioned. So many others will be unveiled as the year goes on. Infrastructure is not just about roads. There's so much going on. When we talked about tourism, it's still part of it. The convention, the 5,000 capacity convention center that's under construction at the Tropicana complex, the Boom Hotels that's going on the 200 bed, and then the Arise Shopping City that's coming up, all in that ecosystem, that corridor. All will add to the infrastructure stock, even though it will drive tourism, but it will add to the infrastructure stock within the state. Everything, whether it's health, education, roads, and so on, they all add to the infrastructure stock. But of course, they drive various areas of development. And that is why His Excellency was very methodical in designing the Arise agenda. He brought out the 5 major pillars and 17 focal areas that touches on these various initiatives. There are several other educational developments, security management, you know it. You know that the governor of Akwa Ibom State started by setting up a standalone Ministry of Internal Security to ensure that security is coordinated properly and effectively. He appointed competent personnel there. Of course, a retired Army General is the one running that ministry. And we've moved from down to developing a security and command center. And the development, in addition to the command center, a new building for the Ministry of Internal Security to complement the security and command center within the same location, so they can coordinate their activities and work together from one location. That's going on. You know the story of the 14 gunboats that was acquired to help the inland water security, and of course the support, vehicular and logistics support to security agencies. Several support trucks have been presented since His Excellency Pastor Mono came on board, and a lot more will happen. with the unveiling of the Security Trust Fund and the approach that His Excellency has put in place to ensure the management of that fund, and what government will also do from internal appropriation, and there will be better days ahead for the security subsector of the state. Well, there are so many other areas, for instance, power. If you look at aspiration 3 of the Arise agenda, His Excellency had promised the people of Akwa Ibom State that he will tackle the menace of power shortage and unavailability in the state. Only 2 weeks ago, a few days ago, that was the 16th to 18th and 19th of September. His Excellency the Governor hosted the first Akwa Ibom State Electricity Summit and designed the roadmap for power development, 68 megawatts, and so many others. You know about the health sector. I won't talk much on that because Health himself is here, so he will take us through what he's doing in healthcare development, particularly the healthcare state of emergency that His Excellency the Governor declared in the State Executive Council a few weeks ago, and appointed an interministerial committee to drive that initiative, headed by the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ekem Emmanuel John, who is here. And the committee has been working day and night, meeting day and night to meet the aspirations of His Excellency in developing and implementing this 12 months emergency. At appropriate time, the Commissioner for Health will shed more light on the healthcare initiative and also take your questions, which I'm sure you are ready and ready to ask us. So many other areas of going on. Sports development is ongoing. After 14 years of eclipse, Governor Moino, in line with the Arise agenda of developing sports tourism, brought back the Akwa Ibom State Sports Festival, which ended just 2 weeks ago. Brought back the sports festival. You saw what happened in the Youth Township Stadium. All 31 local government areas came in with they competed for various trophies. And of course, all the games came in, one state, one united front, 31 local government areas, 18 sporting categories, and that has ignited sports development and talent hunt in the state. But the governor has not ended there. He's also asked the Minister of Sports and the Interministerial Committee driving sports development in the state to ensure that additional plans are made towards developing on a permanent basis and restoring the schools' inter-house sports system, working with the Ministry of Education to ensure that the inter-house sports system return, because that will now help in developing and growing interest in sporting activities from that basement, from that school level. And of course the Governor's Cup and so many other sporting activities. That is in addition to spending over 300 million in replacing moribund and non-existing sporting equipment that only God knows when last they were bought. But the governor had decided to invest in the sporting equipment, because there's no sports without equipment. You can imagine going for weightlifting without equipment, or going to play tennis without rackets and all of those. Even for football, even the kits, the boots and all of that, and so on and so forth. We can go on and on and on, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, but I must also take you to the compassionate initiatives of His Excellency the Governor. Two things: compassionate initiative and human capital development. These are two areas that are very dear to the heart of His Excellency the Governor and the government of Akwa Ibom State at this time of the development of the state. For the human capital development, if you get onto the SAC, you will see what is happening there. The investment that His Excellency has continued to make in that very robust facility to ensure that Akwa Ibom people, the young people across the 31 local government areas, have access to skills development in all the departments and faculties that are in that place. I think they have up to 16 different departments, including animal husbandry. A few days ago, we went there, we saw their fisheries department, their goatry, their piggery, their agri support equipment, automobile maintenance, carpentry, woodworks, all sorts, hotel and hospitality. And you can see the kids, most of them are right now on internship in different places. And that is human capacity development. That's all adding to the stock of the human index development for the state. If you get to Ibomled, I did mention before that they're already in EAP 4.0 this time, adding to the stock of the people that are empowered by the state government under His Excellency, the Governor Omenos drive to develop capacities of Akwa Ibom State. I think there should be, the first was 1,700 now at the counting, 1,700. The first batch of 1,200 were already trained, empowered. And now you have 500 in-house, inbound. They are going through their training program right now. You can stop by the Ibom-led facilities at the e-library complex to see what is going on there. You may recall that shortly before the state anniversary, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Omono, went to declare open the EAP 4.0 with those five and admonished the young people of Akwa Ibom State to take advantage of the opportunities available and imbibe those skills that will live with them forever and enable them to be economically self-sufficient. So this is one area that the governor is very particular about: human skill development and economic self-sufficiency. Of course, you know from his background, he's a man who had worked very, very hard to develop himself, develop skills, and develop people around him. He wants to see every young Akwa Ibom person have his or her hands on something and earn a living, quality living, out of his or her own work and sweat. And how do we do this? It's now equipping the people with skills. Those skills will live with us forever. Yes, any money given will finish. Either we eat it, it will be stomach to toilet. But the skills lives with us forever. That's what it's looking at. So Ibomled now is almost becoming like a finishing school. Some of the people coming out, the SAC, will also go into the finishing school at Ibomled and then will also be prepared for empowerment. That's in addition to the several empowerment initiatives. So far, from the last counting, over 12 billion have been spent so far in empowering Akwa Ibom citizens. You are aware of the farmers' grant of 2 billion. That through the town hall meetings, you saw the numbers, local government by local government, and in federal constituencies, the beneficiaries that you can point at. You can go to the portal and see them. You can see those who physically benefited from the farmers' grant, from the traders' grant of 2 billion, farmers' grant of 2 billion, the MSME fund, including the 2 billion Bank of Industry fund, where Akwa Ibom people are taking advantage of. And we urge our young people to take advantage of the BOI opening. These are things that people have taken advantage of across the country to make a good living for themselves. And it's important. That's the reason why the governor has made those investments so we can build a future for Akwa Ibom people. I took time to explain this because I know he's very, very particular about skills development and human capacity development. Next in line is the Rise Compassionate Homes. Getting now to the poorest of the poor, the homeless, looking at those pictures, looking at the videos of people who are living in thatches, in bushes, under cellophanes, and so on. And then, without knowing anyone, the governor, through his team, will now have these people identified, build houses for them. Target 500 units in the first 4 years. We don't know where he will take it to in the other 4 years till 2031, but at least we know the ones he has told us for the first time. And he has already done 267 of those houses handed over to beneficiaries across the 31 local government areas so far. There is no local government that has less than 6 in the first instance. No local government across the 31. No local government. And of course, these are very touchy things that you see, the true beneficiaries, that you know that even God in heaven will appreciate the governor for intervening at that level, providing succor for those who really need succor. That is in addition to the free food distribution program under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the State Bulk Purchase Agency. That is interventionist, like the governor will always say. Food distribution is an interventionist initiative that will just support the people who are drawn from the social register. But the main meat is getting back to farm. The operation return to farms. The Back to Farm initiative that the governor launched, ensuring that everyone grows something. You will grow a garden. You may recall the home garden scheme that came up is going to the second phase of the home garden scheme will soon commence. And once we launch that out, of course, there will be more beneficiaries coming out of their home garden initiative. The idea is to encourage everyone to own a farm, own a garden at home, support the agricultural development of the state, grow something, add some stock to the market. When that happens, the prices of foodstuff will automatically come down. When everyone is not rushing to the market for pepper, when everyone is not rushing to the market for okra, when everyone is not rushing to the market for vegetables, the prices will come down because it's a function of demand and supply. And it will also enable us to have fresh and nutritious food stuff around us. Maybe doctor will tell us the nutritional values of those fresh things, but at least at this level, let's all have our farms. And so many other interventionist initiatives. Aviation tourism and aviation development. Ibom Air is our flag that is in the sky, flying Akwa Ibom flag all over there. With its current fleet, you know that since His Excellency came on board, it has worked hard with the airline and added four new aircrafts. The Airbus A220 series and the CRJ 900 series, 4. That took the fleet to 9. And of the Ibom Air has become a profitable venture run commercially by professionals and so on. And that is part of what His Excellency is developing from the Ibom Hotel brands, so that it will now is running. So whether it is the Ibom Hotels at Nwaniba with the golf course, or the 4 Point by Sheraton, or the upcoming Ibom Hotels at the Tropicana complex, or the upcoming Ibom Hotels at the old Liaison Office complex that will follow in Abuja. I hope you know, when I say Liaison Office complex, the old one by Minister of Finance in central area, both are in central area, but the old one that is moribund and almost it's totally down, that will be replaced with the 4-star hotels and apartments still under the Ibom Hotels brand that will run like Ibom Air. So at the end of the day, we will have our Ibom Air brand, we'll have our Ibom Hotels brand, our Ibom Tourism brand, and all of those are the areas His government is taking Akwa Ibom, so that the destination Akwa Ibom story will be complete. But talking about the airport development, that is still ongoing. Hopefully soon, the new international airport terminal building will be open. Finishing touches have been put to some of the things that needs to make it work. You see, aviation development, as you see that terminal, as beautiful as it is, for it to work, there are so many connections that will need to come in place for it to work. For instance, the taxiway, the runway, taxiway, and the apron needed to be completed and connected in that will allow you process any passenger from the terminal building into the apron area, or for even an aircraft. Even the passenger walkway, there are so many other components that will make it function with an aircraft that is coming in. And there's so many things. Aviation lighting system. There are 10 projects within the aviation ecosystem going on. 10 as we speak to you. 10 of them going on. So many nearing completion. Happily, I think the managing director of Ibom Air, the CPS, last night he told us that he's done with the aerodrome lighting system to allow for night flights and so on. You remember the governor had given them a marching order for September 30th today, deadline for our night flights to resume. But we were happy to hear that report last night, that has been concluded, amongst others, including the airport medical facility that the Honorable Commissioner for Health and his team are helping put together, so we can have a quality hospital in that place. The aviation village is going on, construction work is ongoing. Some of us should also find time to see these things, or maybe we'll need to arrange a tour so that we can see some of these things for ourselves and be able to make our judgments from what's going on. 10 projects in one airport ecosystem is not small. I'm not sure there's any airport in Nigeria right now that can tell us that they are pursuing 10 solid projects within that ecosystem. If we move simultaneously, we can move to that. If we now move towards the water, the maritime system, the maritime ecosystem, you need to get in there and see the tourism and maritime transportation and blue economy development that's taking place in that location as we speak to you. The shoreline protection has gone very, very far. A few days ago, I think we were there with the delivery advisor, Omanesin, and the rest, and to look at the work that's going on there. The shoreline protection is nearing completion. Of course, the jetties are coming on. The jetties are coming on board, commercial passenger jetty and the JTF jetty for security. There's a separate JTF jetty being put in place beyond the passenger jetty that is in that place. And then to also ensure the commercial viability and restore the trading and commercial impetus of the Oron Maritime Beach, His Excellency directed some time ago that they must include storage, cold storage facilities to ensure that our fishermen and people who are getting produce out of the water will not have to have difficulties being able to store their maritime products. So they will be able to put them in a storage facility, cold room facilities. You have parks, you have recreational facilities, and of course the old museum that is there will also complement all of the developmental initiatives in that place. So we need to go and see. These projects have gone very, very far. It's part of the development of the blue economy and the maritime ecosystem within that corridor. Of course, preparatory to the bigger picture, which is the Boom Deep Seaport Initiative, because I know that question will come. So let me say it before you ask, that the initiative is not abandoned. The initiative is on course. The work is on course. The access road is being built now. The discussions are on. Of course, as soon as possible, once all of the things needed are in place, actual work will begin. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought we share some of these things. That's a lot.
My senior brother, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, the Permanent Secretary. My senior brother, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, SSA to the Governor, directors here present, gentlemen and ladies of the press. I thank you for the opportunity to interact with every one of us, and I must commend us for creating a vibrant media community in Akwa Ibom. We came in some months back, and one of the managers and administrators, and it will take commitment from the part of the healthcare service providers. It would also take the cooperation of the public. So developing the health ecosystem, it's a full-time job that requires all hands to be on deck. And the governor told me something. He said, you know what, doctor? The commitment from the government side, you have it 100%. And that is why I am emboldened to act and carry out his directives. If you look at the healthcare system, you would find that a couple of our facilities are not in good shape. But the good thing is that the government is not denying that. We have done visits to these facilities. We realize there's a problem. And on the strength of that, His Excellency, having been fully briefed about the challenges in the health sector, declared a state of emergency in the health sector. And there, UNESCO constituted an interministerial steering committee, realizing that the problems are multifaceted. And they range from infrastructural deficiencies to equipment, to lack of equipment, or where there are in some instances, the presence of obsolete equipment. And then, but the most important one, because a hospital, a health facility, is majorly the quality and diligent with my work in this sector. And it will not be out of place if I say that I know a little about the sector. And so, we are having a Ministry of Health that for the first time under the leadership of Governor Moino is open to accountability and scrutiny. we are beginning to say, wait a minute, gentlemen, we have patients' bill of rights, and they are entitled to care when they appear. And if you are engaged by the government to be there, then you must be there to offer that care. For the first time, we are holding practitioners to account. But if we must hold practitioners to account, then we must hold the general public to account too. I'll give a small, and I'll address it segment by segment, talking about accountability. 3 weeks ago, we had a now viral video about a patient who presented and was not attended to by the doctors who were supposed to have done that. Unlike many other places, the governor directed, and I acted promptly. Within minutes, I was at that facility. And when I assessed the situation, being in regulatory and administrative position, I couldn't immediately make comments. But I took steps to safeguard the facts and ensure that nothing was altered. I quickly, immediately, at the spot, demanded for that patient's folder. And thank God, the woman's relative is alive and can bear witness. And when it appeared like someone wanted to play tricks, I insisted that if I did not have that folder appear in the next 10 minutes, people would have to go in for that because it's a patient's folder. It's not supposed to be out of the hospital. And by the time I read the Riot Act, the folder appeared. I took hold of it, and it never got to any other human being under the face of the earth until the investigative committee was inaugurated, and I handed them over personally to the chairman of that committee. The Civil Service Commission will send us back their final verdict, and it will be published. The entire Akwa Ibom would see. Fast forward to that period, everybody said, oh, government was not doing enough supervision, or the health workers are not present. And the following week, we had 2 consultants that for over 6 months had been playing truancy at work. And when the government declared them absent without leave, we saw people, Akwa Ibomites, go up in arms against the government. And the question really is, what do our people want? Should we maintain the status quo, or should we embark on holistic reforms? In one breath, you are asking that the government must hold health workers to accountability at their place of work. And when the government does that, in line with the extant public service rules, someone stands up to attack the government. I mean, if we want change in the sector, then that change must come irrespective of who is involved. Whether it is a cleaner in the health facility or it is the biggest consultant at that facility. Systems do not work when systems respect people and titles. System works when there is only one rule that fits all. Under the leadership of Governor Omoino, I can tell you for free that we are committed to ensuring that accountability. The consultant hematologist came to the state secretariat after close of work. Up till today, he has not reported. We are not going to join issues on social media. The appropriate place for him to report is the office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health. But he has other options if he feels the Ministry of Health will be very hard. He can go to the Chairman Civil Service Commission. He can go to the Hospitals Management Board. He can even go to the head of the civil service. These are official complaint routes. But I've received the invitation to appear on radio to speak. I said I would not speak. There is no debate with a staff. We would apply the rule irrespective of your status. It has now emerged that the man who claimed he did not receive sponsorship from the state, as he, by his own account, said he was in Lagos for 8 years in the video. And during that period, he was receiving salaries. And it is pitiable, and I urge Akwa Ibom people to step back and think one more minute, that someone earned 389,000 in 2013. With the greatest respect to every one of us sitting in this room, ask yourself what you earned every month in 2013. And the person called that just common. Even today, 389,000 is not common. Even today, there are many hard-working Nigerians, even in 2025, 12 years later, who do not earn what he earned. And now, if by his own admission, he was in Lagos and not in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom state government owns no hospital in Lagos. So clearly he was not working for us. That is one. Two, I myself have gone through residency. It is not correct to say that 89,000 at any point in time, even today, cannot support you to do residency. It will not go down well with my colleagues. But I can tell you very clearly that any government that gives a support to a resident, 389 million without working, 89,000 without working, I am sure that any person who has a heart of gratitude will be grateful. But again, I'm not going to respond to mob actions. No reformer is ever praised. 2 years later, we will put the scorecard. And I can tell you that under the leadership and guidance of Governor Moino, the healthcare system in Akwa Ibom would be one to count. But if you make a small mental note, over a period of 7 to 8 years, that figure would amount to close to 30 million or thereabout. Let's forget about law. Where is the morality that a state now moves on to train you so that you come back to help our people? And when you acquire that skill and knowledge, you walk away. I just thought I should make some clarifications about that and to insist that we will not be deterred. Everyone, the government of Pastor Moino has brought out policies to support doctors and other health workers in training. But everyone trained by Akwa Ibom money would work for Akwa Ibom people. It's very clear. In terms of what we are doing in primary health care, the facts speak for itself. As we speak now, we've already completed over 15 primary health care centers in different local governments. We have about 5 more that we are ready to commission. But His Excellency directed that we stop because of the challenge of human resources for health. So even though those facilities are good to go, we're no longer commissioning. Because, this government is not deceiving anybody. What is the point commissioning when you do not have adequate staffing? And so we've suspended that. But I just thought I should say that the ongoing reconstruction of primary health care centers will not stop. In fact, even as we engage at this meeting, workers are at different sites across the 31 local governments. And across those 31 local governments, we have another 5 that will be ready for us to kickstart as soon as we conclude with tackling the challenge of human resources for health. Last month, the governor expanded the recruitment process for the health sector to 2,000 healthcare workers. I stand to be corrected. It is a testament of His Excellency's commitment to the health and well-being of our people. The recruitment of 2,000 full-time staff is the single largest. It may not be the El Dorado, but I choose my words carefully. It is the single largest recruitment of health care workers in the history of Akwa Ibom since 1987. We may not be where we are, but on that matter, we are making palpable progress. If you go to the building next door, His Excellency has also directed that every person who has retired, and we have a couple of them, I will explain the wisdom behind this. Every single person who retired between 2015 and today, that's 10 years back in time, but is strong enough and medically fit to offer services should be recalled and offered contract appointments and deployed to our facilities. As at the last count, we have over 200 persons who have applied as at last week. I do not know how many would apply when we come to a close, but to underscore the governor's commitment, he gave an omnibus approval. As many as who apply are willing to abide by our terms and conditions, that is, they would be at their duty post, and we've made it clear. We will not engage you on a contract basis, and when it is time for you to work, you remind us that you were born in 1940. If you are too big to offer the service to Akwa Ibom people, we thank you. Please stay. But if you engage with us, we will put up supervisory mechanism to ensure that Akwa Ibom people get value for that money. There is no quarrel. If you do not apply, we are not angry. But if you apply, you would work, and we will pay. No quarrels. So I want to say that by the time we finish, within the next 30 to 45 days, the government of Pastor Moino would have successfully injected into the system over 2,500 fresh healthcare workers. And that would go a very long way. In terms of infrastructural projects, you are aware that the governor has declared a state of emergency. Between now and December, the target is that we would attempt to put in very good shape, standardized, at least 5 to 7 of our general hospitals. I'm not that commissioner that will come here and tell you that we would address everything at the same time. And everybody knows I have the utmost regards for His Excellency the Governor. And everybody would know that when you appear before a governor, you appear, like the Bible says, with fear and trembling. You measure your words. But even before His Excellency, and he was driving, we need to do all of them. I was able to say, Your Excellency, we need to do all of them, but we would not be able to do all of them at the same time. So if at that level of the highest pressure, I would be honest and frank to myself, to the governor and the people of Akwa Ibom, I am reiterating that we understand the problem, we understand the challenge, but please do not think that you would sleep and wake up and you would have a brand new hospital. As I speak, a joint technical team with support staff from Ministry of Housing and also the Ministry of Health have been going around our general hospitals and making assessments. Some of you would have encountered them. But you see, these things are systematic. By the time they make the assessment on what should be done infrastructurally wise, there is another technical team of medical practitioners going around to assess the medical equipment deficit. All of this would now be collated and put, and then we would have the architects develop construction drawings and everything. Then the quantity surveyors must develop bill of quantities. And then it will be costed, presented to the governor in ESCO. And then, before then, the interministerial committee must sit and ratify, and then jointly present to the governor in ESCO. And then it will be approved and work will commence. And that is why it is important for us to constantly engage truthfully, honestly, and lay this down so that we do not have unnecessary expectations. No quantity surveyor can walk into a hospital and give you a bill of quantity. There must be drawings. No architect can sit today and give you drawings within one day. Even AI is going to mislead you. So you need to have boots on ground to do that. And so that is how we are progressing. As part of the health sector reform laws, His Excellency is also As part of the state of emergency, His Excellency has also directed that we look at our enabling laws. So, we're looking at the health sector reform laws. For example, when you look at the public health law of Akwa Ibom, it is still the one that was at the colonial times. And you must then know that things have changed. If you look, so it is going to undergo review. That again would require the expertise and collaboration of the Ministry of Justice. But these are things that we expect that before December, we would have a holistic Akwa Ibom health sector reform law. A booklet that we compile all our laws. And you see, if you want to do systematic reform, it must be anchored in the root of law. And that is where we're starting from. We are also, for the first time, churning out policies. Before, in this state, any Tom, Dick, and Harry would stage anything in the name of free medical outreaches. I am a practitioner. I have been invited to participate in an outreach that I moved in many years back in theater. And somebody in theater was a physiotherapist, not a surgeon. With the greatest respect to my brother professionals in that profession, this is not to put down, but a physiotherapist is not a surgeon. And guess what? The person was not even from Akwa Ibom. So he leaves his own state, comes to Akwa Ibom, does anything in the name of free medical outreach, and then goes away. And so we have now said, no, you can't do that. If you must come in here, you must inform the ministry at least 30 days ahead of the time, submit the credentials of the personnel you are going to use, and that will allow us to vet. If you say you want to use a pharmacist and you submit the credentials, we must then have the person's license. The first thing is, do you have 2025 license? If you do not have, you are a quack, and we will not allow you to touch our people. When you submit your license and we check the date, it is 2025, we pass on to the Director of Pharmaceutical Services, and then he can reach the council, and they can validate for us whether this is actually correct or forged. And so when we do these things, people who do not understand are quick to jump in. Now, when you also talk about regulation, let us sound it very clear. The permanent secretary informed the general public yesterday. Hospitals are sanctuaries of peace and healing. Every time we open our doors, we are conscious that we are a service sector. I would be the first to admit that there are many or a few healthcare workers who may not offer these services within the standards expected of people of their professions and learning. However, majority of our healthcare workers, and I repeat myself, majority of our healthcare workers are actually very hardworking. But that the attitude of a few of these people who choose to be lazy at their duty post casts a bad image on every other person's hard work. And so as a ministry, we are willing to take people to task. And I have directed that all hospitals must place complaints, resolution, phone numbers at conspicuous places in the hospital. But let us be clear, the hospital is not a theater for content creation. And there are laws that protect the hospitals and the healthcare providers. The National Health Act clearly empowers hospitals and healthcare providers to refuse care to any patient that is unruly, especially when they feel that their life is threatened. We have also empowered our people that anybody that comes to disrupt services and puts them in danger, they should withdraw their service. But we will not stop at that. That law empowers us to evaluate, because no sane person will go and disrupt a hospital service. That law empowers us to evaluate whether the person is sane by subjecting that person to a psychiatric evaluation. We will begin to apply that. But let me say here that in saying this, if you go to any hospital, whether public or private, and you are poorly attended to, the government of Akwa Ibom, through the Ministry of Health, is very much open to offer you redress. Please report. And once you report, give us 2 to 3 weeks and see whether when it is investigated and established, it will be covered under. I can assure you that there will be no covering of any malpractice. I want to beg all of us, in terms of projects that we are expecting to be delivered, if you go to the airport clinic, it is no longer the airport clinic, it is now the airport medical center. We now have a full-fledged medical center qualified as a secondary facility. What we are doing there, you will not find many airports in many parts of Nigeria having that quality of facility, including the ones that are well known as international. Now, let me say that all our health, that facility should be ready sometime around October, November, and it has been completely redesigned to match up the international terminal. And it is getting ready so that as soon as we begin our operations at the international terminals, that facility will be on ground to serve our people. But it is not only going to serve them, it will also serve the entire aviation village and travelers and passengers. And that is one of the reasons why I urge Akwa Ibom people to support Governor Pastor Umoino. Because his decision to intervene in that facility was born out of a tragedy where a traveler developed a medical emergency and could not be attended to immediately. And when that was brought to his attention, he immediately directed that we go there. And we're doing that. And so we're taking all of these holistic approaches, and I can assure you that if you give us the necessary support, which I believe you would, and you help us to create this enlightenment, then you will see that there will be visible changes. Just yesterday, the Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Agency launched the self-enrollment portal. You do not now need to go to Barracks Road or for them to come to your office for you to subscribe to the health insurance scheme. I'd like to dwell here a little bit. Our people must understand that the role of government is to provide you health facilities that are functional, working, and of good standard, and also to create access. That access means geographical access in terms of spread of locations of these hospitals and primary health centers, but it also means financial access. And when we talk about universal coverage and access financially, we're speaking in terms of a citizen being able to access health care, standard health care, without suffering. And it does not matter whether you get it from a private insurance firm. And it does not matter whether you get it from a private insurance firm or the Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Firm or the National Health Insurance Authority, but you must have one. In civilized countries, you cannot go to the UK. Even before you go to the UK, it is embedded in your visa fee. You must pay for that health insurance. And let me clear, I have seen people say, we have not been enrolled. Our monies have been deducted. And people are capitalizing on that to mount a campaign of calumny. The law says 10% or 3.5%, and Akwa Ibom is deducting only 3.5% of basic salary, not including allowances. And it is everyone's responsibility to be enrolled. The health insurance scheme, you will bear witness, went around all MDAs in this state enrolling staffers. After that, we have continued to enroll. Please take advantage of that. The government is paying a balance of 6.5% to ensure that you enjoy that service. If you stay at home and you do not enroll, you are not taking advantage of the benefits of why you voted for Pastor Umoino. It is the first time this has been operationalized. It was launched last year, and in 1 year, we have enrolled over 150,000. Please make use of that facility. I thank you very much. And if there are other questions, I would respond to them. But these are some of the things that I remember. And as I wind down, do not forget that Pastor Moina has also launched the Akwa Ibom State Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance Systems. 31 ambulances working, over 600 medical emergencies peaked between March 1st and September 30th. And many more. Today, Akwa Ibom is assured of medical grade oxygen. Before now, we used to have oxygen imported from neighboring states, and sometimes the quality of that oxygen you cannot guarantee. Today, we have 3 medical oxygen plants functioning in Akwa Ibom. At Itumbang, at General Hospital Ukpomabak, at Emmanuel General Hospital Eket. And we produce enough oxygen to cover all health facilities in Akwa Ibom, both public and private. These are things that Governor Umoino has achieved under 2 years of his leadership. And they are not small feats. I thank you once again. God bless you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Commissioner for
Thank
Health.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I think the Commissioner for Health has given us so much details on the health sector. We're very, very specific in inviting him because we knew he has a lot to tell us about the health sector. That is not all. We will set out a date for the health sector and just focus on the health sector. Move to another sector, education, agriculture, roads, and so on. We'll keep the focus. But it was important he made those clarifications. And so don't worry, you will ask your questions. We will listen to everybody. But we'll make it very brisk and quickly so that we can get things done. But there's also areas, I know some people will talk about youth and youth development, of course, and structure. So there's no issue. Youth development is at top uppermost in the scheme of things for His Excellency Governor Umoino. You are aware of the recently concluded Youth Skills Week, which was to prop up our youths and position them to be participants and partakers in the digital space and the upcoming youth-friendly centers, the hubs that will come up in the 31 local government areas. We just thought we'd talk about that, but there's no way we can have this discussion without talking about the gratuities and pensions, because this is at the fabric of our family is a beneficiary. That is why His Excellency Governor Umoino came into office and looked at the backlog of, it was close to 100 billion backlog, close to 100 billion in all, 98 or so, and then so far, up to 78 billion in terms of gratuities and emoluments have been taken out by one governor on backlogs from 2012 going up till now. I think we've taken up to 2019, going to 20, and in the next, in the coming year or so, by God's grace, the intention of Governor Umoino is to level it out. So it comes to 0-0 so that gratuities and so on will now run pari passu with salaries and other emoluments. We thought we should talk about that. So when you're talking of benefits to workers, you see, Akwa Ibom is still one of the best, if not, and so on. I still recall with nostalgia the excitement that took place at Flamore the day 150 units of free houses were given to civil servants, grades level 1 to 7. Yes, I think it was level 1 to 7. Yes. So you can imagine those. So those of us who could afford housing or could contribute should wait and then go to with luxury and think of some of those luxurious ones and upcoming ones. But at least for those people who are just starting, at least 150 of them got. More will come as God gives the grace and enables His Excellency the Governor. So many other things are happening, but we'll just take some points from the CPS so that we can listen to you. We'll just take quick questions and wrap up this. We've already spent more than an hour. We're getting We started at after 10, so it's getting to 12. So this was intended to last for 1.5 hours, so that we can do the full briefing for an hour and take questions for 30 minutes. So we'll listen to the CPS and then take your questions. The AUJ chairman will conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, my brother, the Right Honorable Nia Kanomana, the Honorable Commissioner for Health. That was Vintage You seminar presentation, awesome. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information, my dear brother, the NUJ chairman, the one I used to call the future, and I keep telling him the future is now. Well, the Honorable Commissioner for Information writes a column called Elucidation. And we work together as a team. He has elucidated on practically everything His Excellency has done across the Arise agenda. All the pillars, he has elucidated on them. So and since what we do between the Ministry of Information and the Press Corps is a function of synergy and collaborations, I don't think I'm going to really, they don't have a lot to say, because before we came here, we all sat together, agreed on the set of principles and predicates that we're going to deal with. But I want to thank you guys for the support you've given us. I think somewhere, like the Honorable Commissioner for Information had said, sometime pretty soon, I think we're going to organize a tour for you guys to go around and see all the good things the governor has done across the 5 pillars of the Arise agenda and the 17 focal points. And so I know we can always count on you for wonderful support, and I know that you would continue to celebrate the Akwa Ibom exceptionalism. This is a wonderful state. A few days ago, we celebrated our 38 years since we were created, and if you look back at where we were, where we are, and where the governor is taking us to, we have absolutely every right to be excited and happy for that critical principle of Akwa Ibom exceptionalism. So I urge you to please believe in this, that believe in where we were, where we are, and what we might and should be going, where we should be going. And so on that note, I thank you for what I know is going to be a pretty intensive and sweet, exciting, interactive session. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you so very much. Essien, I think you can moderate this interactive session very quickly. So we'll take that very quickly, and then we move to NEJ chairman and conclude.
Thank you very much. I think I will not do well if I don't request that we put a very resounding round of applause for the Honorable Commissioners and the CPS. Thank you very much. At this point, we will take questions in batches. We will have a set of 5 questions, and then possibly, if there's still any other question, we can have the second batch. For now, let's have the first batch of questions. And they will come from the journalists here. And please refer actually to who you direct the question to. The Commissioner for Information is here, the Commissioner for Health, the CPS, the Chairman of NDJ is also here. So, all right, I recognize the Sun newspaper, the Comfort FM is okay. If you make the Waves newspaper, that's 3. Okay, AIT 4, and of course the New Telegraph 5. All right, the Sun newspaper.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioners. My name is Isaac Job. I write for the Daily Sun. Some of my questions I scribble here have been taken over by the explanations offered by the 2 commissioners, and I give you a pat on the back. But I see some of them that are still begging for answers. First of all, let me talk about the power sector reforms. The question is this on the power sector reforms, that the governor has make a very bold step by addressing a state of emergency in the power sector, but some communities even within your community, your metropolis, have not been lit up for some time now. I live in one of those communities that is in Nongobionang, by Stadium Road, by Bega Junction. As we're going to that Stadium Road, that community don't have electricity for the past 7 years. Transformer they have been vandalized, and nothing is done about it. So what is the governor doing? While waiting for this power reform sector, what is the governor doing temporarily to take care of some of these problems? On the health sector, let me ask the Commissioner for Health that the terrain in the hospital these days is that doctors will have their own clinic, but don't pay attention to government hospitals. In this state of emergency that the governor has declared, what is being put in place to check some of these exigencies by doctors? Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Honorable Commissioners, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor.
Please become. Someone is standing.
Good afternoon, Honorable Commissioners, the Chief Press Secretary, and others. I stand on existing protocol. Please, my question is very simple. The retired primary school teachers have been lamenting that they are being owed over
protocol. My name is Ephraim Ikpa. I write for the Wave newspaper. My question is this: 772 kilometers of road. 772 kilometers of road, sir. This question. Can you tell us, of the 772 kilometers of road, how many were inherited from the past administration? And how many are being done presently by the governor sitting on the throne? And within the 772, how many are currently undergoing construction? And is it possible for us to know those ones that have been completed? Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioners and colleagues. My name is Idong Asedikono. I work for Africa Independent Television, AIT. Let me take it from where my brother has just stopped. Concerning roads, I know that we have an agency called Road Maintenance Agency. But I don't know if that agency is still working, because so many potholes everywhere in the city. In fact, in very embarrassing parts of the city. For example, around the bypass, the Plaza bypass, between Abak Road and Aka Road, there's a deep gully. It's not even a pothole anymore. It's a deep gully there that has affected so many cars, caused a little traffic gridlock when you're passing through that axis of the town. So I like to know, is the road agency, maintenance agency still working? Two, at the onset of this administration, there was an all-encompassing summit, even though it was called Economic Summit, where almost all the sectors of the Arise agenda were looked into. I want to ask, in terms of tangibles from the summit, where are we? What can we hold on as tangible things that we benefited from that summit?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Honorable Commissioner. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. My name is Inusen, and and I represent Comfort FM. All Commissioner, just a couple of weeks ago, you were appointed a member of a flood eradication committee in the state with the flood eradication committee with the Commissioner for Works as chairman. Emphasis was on Akaitiam. I don't know what has happened since then because it has gone viral and people are complaining about the flood situation at Akaitiam. And then secondly, while you were talking about activities that took place in the month of September, which ends today, you said that some trainees that the state government sent for pilot training and aircraft engineering paid a courtesy call on the state governor. I want to know, knowing the kind of governor that we have, who would not allow a good thing to just pass by, I want to know if there's plan to integrate them in the service of IBOM A or any other facility for that matter. And then to the Commissioner for Health, there's another viral video that we have seen still concerning Ikorekbene General Hospital. A lady was complaining of her mother not being taken care of. Okay, my colleagues are saying it has been addressed. They have talked about litigation as well. But what is the position, sir?
Thank you very much. Let me even start from when we go for exams, we start with the cheapest question. My dear brother that spoke last, the second viral video yesterday, there was an extensive briefing by the Permanent Secretary, Hospitals Management Board, and that of the Ministry of Health. And all of the issues were addressed. And even today, if you listened attentively, I alluded to it. I did allude to it, and I say very clearly, but for the avoidance of doubts, that woman arrived at the hospital at 7:45 a.m. Contact time with the hospital, and there was a doctor on ground to assess her. She was, after assessment, all the vital signs recorded, the complaints, there was nothing emergency about it. But just to be precautious, they admitted her into the emergency ward. Between 7:45 and the evening hours when the young lady did that video, that woman had been reviewed by the doctors 5 other times after initial contact. And they are all recorded there. What is clear to us, there are mischief makers who want to turn our hospitals to content creators' side. We will not allow that. The hospital is a sanctuary of peace and healing. And patient areas where doctors consult and review patients are privacy areas. In making that video, even if that woman was not attended to, in making that video, that girl has violated the rights of other patients. If you come to any of our general hospitals, you come in with the belief that you are being attended to privately, and your presence in that hospital is confidential. It is unacceptable that a non-hospital actor will then come and expose the faces and environment of our hospitals to the entire world in the name of content creation. I don't have the capacity as commissioner to be a policeman in 513 health facilities owned by government. But anybody who goes there after this public warning to do it again, we will pursue you and we will ensure the law takes its course. In as much as we are setting up mechanisms to redress poor care by healthcare practitioners, we also have a duty to protect our staff and our hospitals, facilities, and our patients most importantly. Yes, we have been considering litigation, but His Excellency the Governor has directed in his usual compassionate manner, that we should let go of the matter. Of course, we cannot do otherwise. And that is gratitude to His Excellency. Otherwise, as a ministry, what would we tell the family? Doctors, what would we tell the family? Doctors' lives matter too. So when the government protects patients' life, that the government also has a duty to protect doctors' life. Yes, now you are coming on the begging side, litigation and all of that. The governor has directed we drop it. But society must be fair and just. You cannot, if it was a doctor that was involved, would you be asking that litigation should not be pursued? What is sauce for the goose is also sauce for the gander. And under my watch, with the backing of the governor, we will be fair, we will do justice to Akwa Ibom people, and we will also do justice to all health workers. Make no mistakes about that. So please, this is the time to advise people, to warn people, to respect the sanctity. Even in war times, you don't attack hospitals. No, read history. Check current affairs. Check diplomatic relations. Even in war times, healthcare workers, hospitals are protected. And journalists. They are all protected species. You know why? We need these people for society to work. So we cannot have people constantly doing all of that. See, when we all demoralize the healthcare workers, are we thinking we demoralize them, debase their humanity, and then we now go to them and present ourselves? Are they in the right frame of mind? After that lady did that thing to the healthcare workers, the other people who came to be seen, the people who were already admitted in the ward, in which frame of mind did you think that those workers were attending to those people who needed their night medications and all of that? That is why we must end this kind of habit. But let's be clear. We have appealed, we have enlightened, we have given reasons. Going forward, when we find anybody, there will be no conversation. We will test the law and we would allow the law to take its course. But again, I reiterate, we are open to accountability. We are open to scrutiny. I with all humility under God, I am that one commissioner that is accessible. When you come to my office on my visiting days, some days I close by 11. People will go to their farms and they will hear that commissioner is still in the office. They'll come by 7 p.m. My aides will be very upset. I said, let's attend to them. We owe the duty. This service is not forever. Now that we are here, we'll do our best. So, having made myself accessible to everyone, why then are you destroying the system instead of taking the proper complaint resolution channel? One thing we have done in the Ministry of Health is to create the Office of the Ombudsman, headed by Dr. George Ekanem, reporting directly to the Honorable Commissioner for Health. You are a media practitioner. You know what media ombudsman mean. So that's like a public complaints unit, where all complaints, whether private hospital or care. Let me shock you. A patient went to a private hospital, had issues, paid money, did not get this. He came and complained, private hospital. I just picked my phone. I said, give me the person's number. I called. I said, hello, you know who is talking? Honorable Commissioner. We have this complaint. The guy said, don't follow. We will resolve. And he refunded the money. So we are doing all of that. This is the first time government is demoting health workers, promoting some, rewarding some, expelling others. So why, if people who complained previously had redress, why would anybody take the laws into their hand? When you go to our hospitals to do content, you are taking the laws into your hand. We will invoke the law. And the second question, doctors have their private clinic and neglect work at public facilities. Well, we have heard this over and over again. Is it true? I would want to think that there is some element of truth in it. But this is how government works, and this is how societies grow. If you have evidence, you see something, you say something. I cannot sit in the office and know a doctor who used government's time to be in his private practice. But if you go to a private hospital and you know that doctor works for the government and is supposed to be at work, and it is God insists is that colleagues must work for government during their duty times if they are employees of government. There should be no quarrel. People are entitled to run their private affairs. But what is not acceptable is using government time for your private practice. When you find that, report. Even if you want to report as anonymous, but give is enormous. I think people misunderstood their submit. The submit was for the governor's Arise Agenda blueprint document to be dissected by Akwa Ibom people, and then a roadmap developed. So the governor had a blueprint document. I want to do emergency medical services. I want to do oxygen, assure of oxygen security, medical oxygen security for Akwa Ibom people. And then he gathers the subject matters expert over a course of 3 days and say, in the health sector, these are my vision. Please, you are the subject matter experts. Develop the roadmap. That roadmap was developed during that summit. And then it was handed over as ministerial mandates to all commissioners. And it is that roadmap which was derived from the Arise Agenda blueprint that we are running with at the Ministry of Health. I may not be able to speak for other aspects, but for the Ministry of Health, I was in that summit. I was in that committee that developed the roadmap. And that is why we are able, if you ask me a question on the road, has responded within 30 minutes of being called. That is it. During that summit, there was no health insurance scheme. But the governor talked about healthcare financing, talked about access to healthcare. It was at that summit that we developed the roadmap and designed the healthcare insurance scheme. And it was launched 20th September last year. Today is 30th September. In 1 year and 10 days, we have been able to enroll up to 150,000 persons. We have enrolled.
You don't have power supply due to vandalism. And I'm so happy that you underline the word vandalism. So government made installations in your community,
Including my own community.
and then your community went to go and vandalize and steal those assets. So it becomes government problem. So it cannot come and earn money. So please, let's keep protecting the asset, but they need to come and earn money. So please, let's keep protecting the asset, but the new electricity reform that will lead to the establishment of the State Electricity Regulatory Commission and the State Electricity Agency will cater for all of those things, because we'll take possession of our assets and be able to manage our internal distribution and electricity assets as we move forward. But not a problem. It's good. It's noted that there's a problem there, and it will be taken to the attention of the appropriate quarters. But key message, let's help to protect our assets. Health sector has already been taken care of. Someone talked about pensions and gratuities. I don't know which pensions, but you see, there are issues involved. I told you about gratuities already, and some of those backlogs that have been taken up to 2019 above, still counting. Those will continue. But there are a lot of things involved in pensions administration. You see, your verification must be ready and good. Your capturing must be done, and your data must work. In this present e-governance structure that His Excellency Governor Mono has instituted, gone are the days where you will sit down and then you will have, like we saw from the portal, we saw pictures of a grandmother who retired, and then the picture is that of the daughter. And so many, you will see all sorts of things going on. Those things have been cleaned up. So gone are the days where people will just think that they can collect pension. But if people who have not completely gotten verified and their data are certain, they should go to do that. They should go to the Ministry of Science and Digital Economy to get that sorted out, because those who are due will always be paid. The e-governance structure in the state is top-notch. There is no way. You cannot get it twice. You cannot be a ghost worker. You cannot be a ghost pensioner. The system will sweep you out. Begin to look at the process. I was in the public sector. Begin to look at the process. I was in the public sector subgroup with Professor Wanepu as chairman. And some of the things discussed was cleaning up the service and ensuring that people with capacity are those who are employed and recruited into the civil service. Not people who cannot write their names. Not highly lettered people, were grossly undereducated people who cannot write their names, who cannot even represent the certificates they are carrying. So the time is now for people to leave the papers that they claim. That is what is happening. Whether it's in employment, whether it's in procurement, and all of that, the e-processes are on. And I must thank His Excellency for instituting this, because this is the way it works in advanced climes. Ephraim talked about the 772 kilometers. He wants the segmentation of the inherited roads, inherited projects, and so on. I think that is not a document you need to look for. When you step out of here, I will give you the scorecard document. You will get the details of all. If they clear that, they can put it on the screen. Otherwise, you will also see the kilometerage, local government by local government. And then you will also see the segmentation. The government... The government never claimed. At no point did they, respectfully, did the government claim that all 772 kilometers were roads started by the administration. Even in my preliminary briefing, I did say that these 772 kilometers include inherited projects inherited from previous administrations and completed under the finisher's anointing of His Excellency Pastor Omoino. And he did say, even a few days ago at the commissioning of ICA, that what matters isn't whether a project was started or left or not, but what matters is completing those projects in the interest of the people, for the people to use these projects and so on, because government money was put in those projects, and for it to serve the people, you do it for them. So we will be able to show you all of that. Somebody talked about Road Maintenance Agency. That's part of the organs that are being looked at now and being reorganized, because some of them need to be put to work in the manner that His Excellency wants organs to work. But so far, pothole problems have been on and the tackling have been on. But of course, in this rainy season, we will continue to see more. So it's to draw the attention of government, and particularly the Ministry of Works. If you also draw our attention, we will send them to the appropriate ministries so that those who are managing potholes will move on. Having one pothole on a Paka road does not negate the fact that 772 kilometers of roads are going on. Potholes will always be there as long as those roads are used, and those things will always be patched. Those that are due for reconstruction will be reconstructed in due time. Well, Dr. Okem, the Commissioner for Health, has already tackled the issue of the Arise agenda, the summit that dissected the Arise agenda. That is what he said is totally true. It's not just for the Ministry of Health, even though he spoke for his ministry. I can also say even in the Ministry of Information and all other ministries and departments of government, there were recommendations and dissecting that were done and that formed the bulk of the recommendation and ratification of the Arise agenda documents after that scrutiny. And that's going on. That is why we have the Ministry of Digital Economy that is now running the e-governance structure envisaged by Governor Moino in the Arise agenda and following the dissecting and the recommendations of the subcommittees that worked on that. I was in the ICT subcommittee, I remember, with Dr. Frank, Dr. Ekuwem, and so many others, and so on. I'm mentioning names of people who are alive. And the recommendations are being implemented every day to the letter. It's detailed for the information sector, detail for health sector, detail for infrastructure, detail for agricultural development, and so on. In fact, tree crops development was part of the recommendations made. That is why the tree crop revolution is coming. and all of the things that you're seeing in the agri-sector. The tourism sector had a robust engagement. In fact, the current chairman of the tourism board and hotel management board was in that subcommittee. And you can see the methodical implementation of the tourism development structure of government across sectors, whether medical, whether agriculture, whether core tourism, whether hospitality, aviation components, and so on and so forth. All of those, including sports tourism, all of those will aggregate into the tourism development of the state. That is the multi-billion-dollar market next to oil. We talked about, in Houston, talked about flood prevention. Flood prevention is an ongoing thing because you will not stop rains. You will not stop what is happening. You have seen all of the alerts by the NEMA, by the NEMA Meteorological Agency. All of those alerts and warnings and cautions are there. Yes, Akwa Ibom is involved in some and many other states. Those natural problems will continue to come. Government will continue to live up to them. As the committee has done its work, and of course the implementation will also begin. But some areas, there are remedial works. If you go to the 4-lane by Oron Road and so on, there was a new drainage line built through the sub-areas to drain out what used to be the clog on Oron Road. And then by Methodist Church too. So there is a new line that's also helping to empty that place. And of course, the governor had also directed the committee to look at the desilting of the main line that goes all the way to the water area in Ibesibo. There's a long, almost 7-kilometer line that runs through that 4-lane, goes through the back of the stadium, and then some comes through Uboridim area and hits to the water area. He had directed a review of that line to ensure that it is desilted to take out blockages. So we look to, all of those will continue to happen. Someone talked about aircraft pilots and engineers and so on, whether they are integrated. First is that there are even Ibom Air pilots. In fact, the governor was even magnanimous in asking that the Ministry of Housing should now begin to work on the possibility of developing a special estate where these pilots will be able to live and be close to the airport, where they can work in comfort. And that's also in the works. So they are pilots of Ibom Air, they are engineers of Ibom Air. They are already integrated, they were trained to work for Ibom Air, and they're already there. Those who are also within the airport system are also there because they were sent from that system to go for the training. So we have huge human capacity there. Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, Honorable Commissioner and Chief Press Secretary and our friends and brothers, I guess and hope that we've been able to do justice to some of your questions. If there are others that you think you want more details, you can meet us in our various offices to give you more details on whatever you need. But His Excellency Governor Mono is running a transparent government. You saw what happened during the public presentation of the Arise Socioeconomic Impact Assessment at the banquet hall of the government house a few months ago. The whole idea was to open up the government to public scrutiny, put out what has been achieved, and ask for your people that are available for government to fill. And it was open on live national and state TV for everyone to see, nothing to hide. After the lead presentation, the keynote by His Excellency the Governor, who set the ground rules, the lead presentation by Professor Chris Ekong, and the discussion sessions, it was frank and open. Civil society organizations asked their questions, members of the public, eminent journalists asked their questions. That is a trajectory that His Excellency Governor Mono is following. The government is open, there is nothing to hide. There is nothing that you need answers to, because what is there to hide? Government documents, even though they write secret, there's nothing secret about it, because it is public funds that's being administered. So you must also know, is it also news that His Excellency Governor Mono has not borrowed one kobo in implementing his projects in Akwa Ibom State? That is no more news. Is it news that he is saving money for every project that is awarded to ensure that they are funded to conclusion? Someone talked about monitoring and how are you sure that these things that were said are done. Every month, we hold the delivery meetings. And in the delivery meetings, The governor sits through 2 days to ensure that we look at various projects, look at their status, look at their delivery timelines, look at if there are gaps, we fill the gaps. All of those are going on. I can say that I have never seen that happen in any government I have had the opportunity of interacting with in this country, where you have a governor sit through for 2 complete days and go through projects one after the other. It is something very novel and unique. Novel to Akwa Ibom State under His Excellency Governor Mono, and we must applaud him for some of these very scientific initiatives that ensures the delivery of the dividends of democracy for the people of Akwa Ibom.
I'm pleased that I've been given this opportunity to make just a few remarks to round off this session. Honorable Commissioner, we have heard all His Excellency the Governor have done. And I want to thank you because this is a periodic, we said periodic press briefing. We believe that maybe we'll hold it again by next month, and subsequently it continues like that. I acknowledge with gratitude, the NUJ acknowledges with gratitude what His Excellency the Governor is doing. We agree with the Honorable Commissioner for Health in the reforms you are doing in the health sector. I hope to share the sympathy of the NUJ with you because I'm sure you are just new to this blackmail by citizens. The NUJ have been blackmailed over and over again. I remember that when journalists make reports, people will not look at the report all through. You now run their mouth and say, these journalists, they are not professional. They don't even know what they are doing. Whereas we are excellently professional in what we do. So I sympathize with you, and I believe that since we are living in an underdeveloped economy, with time, citizens will appreciate what you are doing. I'd like to also thank all commissioners and the Chief Press Secretary for being very frank in the information that you've given to us. A lot of times we have commissioners that when the media approaches them for certain information, they become angry. But we have witnessed your frankness, and we believe that this frankness will continue in Jesus' name. I also like to draw the attention of the Honorable Commissioner to some concerns that he has raised, the empowerment of the governor to some youth and others. And I believe also, and also like to use this opportunity to make this very passionate appeal, that in considering those that will benefit from this empowerment, please consider journalists also, both journalists in the government, employment, and those in the private sector, because health workers are already captured. Because I believe that training and retraining of journalists will go a long way to helping us project the state positively in a manner that is supposed to be. I also like to thank you because this periodic briefing will erase suspicions between the media, the government, and citizens of Akwa Ibom State. And I also like to thank you and thank His Excellency for completing inherited project. We believe that, yes, including the one in NUJ, we believe that initiatives like this makes it a confirmation that government is a continuum. Having said that, sir, let me narrow it down to media practitioners, journalists in the pioneer newspapers, and journalists working in the Ministry of Information and also in the local government service. There is what they call weigh-in allowance. The greatest empowerment you would do for us as media practitioners, especially those in government employment, would be to also pursue this weigh-in allowance to a logical conclusion. Thank you very sincerely, and we look forward to having this briefing again by next month, while also believing that this periodic briefing will open a floodgate for when His Excellency the Governor will now have an interface with all of us. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chairman NUJ, and thank you all for coming out this afternoon. So, well, it's already afternoon. We started in the morning, so we'll continue to engage and do this, and sometimes we will make it, we'll expand it and also condense, contract and expand and condense. But what the most important thing is that we must continue to engage. Our doors are open. Anything that is disturbing to you or you need clarification, please feel free to call. If you call at a point that one is not able to take that call at that point, leave a message. Just leave a message on WhatsApp. Leave a message on WhatsApp or SMS. We will get back to answer you, because there are times you can imagine if someone was calling throughout the pendency of this briefing. We'll get to say he doesn't take his call. But of course, how would we have done it? A message will tell us you did, and then we'll get back to you. So we thank you so much. Let's continue to cooperate and work together. May God bless us all in Jesus' name. Thank you.